How about those Baylor Bears? This is Locked On Baylor.
You are Locked On Baylor, your daily podcast on the Baylor Bears, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to another edition of Locked On Baylor, brought to you by FanDuel. Thank you so much for making it your first listen today and every day. I am Cam Stewart, and I still cannot believe the Baylor Bears pulled that off this weekend. Unbelievable is the most overused word in the English language. That was unbelievable. Bears down 28 points after the first drive, which was done midway through the third quarter, and 35-10 going into the fourth quarter. And this team that was last in the conference in points against per game and points scored per game rattles off 26 in a row. It just defies all imagination. All imagination. Even with your starting quarterback back, even against an unranked team, a team that's better than you by all metrics that you can measure this season. 26 in a row. I mean, after the display against Texas last Saturday, if you had told me, hey, Cam, it's going to take 3 games for Baylor to score 26 points, I'd be like, yeah, that sounds about right. That's what it had basically taken them. I mean, the last 2 games against FCS opponents were 19 points. So, yeah, makes sense. 26 in a row in the fourth quarter. I mean, I don't even need to put it into too much historical context. I was not surprised at all to see that it was the largest comeback in Baylor history. 21 was the previous one, which I don't know if it was more than one, but the TCU game is the one that comes to mind. That was 58-37, and Baylor wins, of course, 61-58. This is more impressive in a way because the team's worse. And that team was built to come back from, I mean, they could score 3 times in 10 minutes, which is essentially what they did. That is a bigger game and against a better opponent and, top 10 matchup, and it's iconic. So that one's better. But this in some ways is more impressive. And what's so funny to me is just giving UCF, I don't want to say a taste of their own medicine because ours was completely clean, but that fumble recovery is taken back for a touchdown is really what changes the game. Caden Jenkins with the big play. How about a day for Caden Jenkins, by the way? First career interception, was playing pretty well out there on the outside. First career interception and fumble recovery and a touchdown. Pretty good. Not bad. Not bad for the kids in the defensive backfield, who I said, I don't think they're bad, but they're young. They're young. And I know Devin Gardner was talking about Devin Bobby, or was it Lemire? A lot of Devins in there. They're all Devin. But someone was beat on that deep ball, that third touchdown by UCF. Safety looking in the backfield. And Corey Gordon, who is the freshman covering him, just gets beat like a rented mule. So it's a little bit on both of them. Anyway, but talking about Caden Jenkins and that big play, that makes it 35-33, and that's really when you have me. Not that what they were doing before that was impressive. It was, but it looked like the timing wasn't great. I mean, UCF's driving on that play. I think they're inside the 30. So they're in field goal range for Boomer, who's a good kicker. And bang, one big play, jackers and robbers, if you will, take it back, touchdown. That's the defense is what sparked this whole thing. I mean, the offense is what kind of went out there and did it as well. And we'll talk about some of the offensive weapons in the next segment. But I mean, the way the defense played, 3 touchdowns allowed in the first 8 minutes of the game. Excuse me, first 8 plays of the game. A little over 8 minutes, but first 8 plays of the game. And to them, basically shut them out the second half. They give out the big drive, and I said this on the post game Saturday, and it made me sound like a bit of a loser mentality, but I was saying, that the defense played better on that drive. They were forcing some third downs. They were pushing them all the way to third down a couple of times on that drive. UCF converted, though, and they scored a touchdown. So it's whatever. Now, it doesn't matter how many third downs you force. You just took half the quarter off the clock, and they scored a touchdown to go up 28 points. And then after that, they just completely clamped down. They brought some more blitzes. I thought the linebackers played with their hair on fire, especially Matt Jones. Giving flowers to Matt Jones again. I thought it was going to be a long day. He and Mike Smith on that first play from scrimmage, that sweep play touchdown. No one sets the edge, and both of them run to the same spot. No chance. Touchdown. I said, "Ooh, this is going to be a long day. It's going to be a long day." And for a while, I was right. But it turned out to be a good long day because those guys turned it around. Finally, some turnover. The last 2 years, we were totally blessed in 2021 in so many ways, but especially how that team forced turnovers. JT Woods, Jalen Petrie, Terrell Bernard, these guys were just ball hawks, and they forced like 2 a game. And last year we were sorely lacking that, and it showed. And they didn't get those short fields, those momentum killers, none of that. They didn't limit teams offensively really. It starts with turnovers, and Baylor finally did that yesterday. And I really hope that is a sign of things to come. Now, I will say it was a bad decision by a backup quarterback on the interception, and it was a bad snap on the fumble. I'll keep it in perspective there. Anyway, unbelievable comeback. Unbelievable comeback. It's still hard to fathom that this same team that we watched last week, was the one that was pulling that off. But, here we are. Here we are talking about it. Is this going to turn into something? I don't know. We'll get into that. But first, we are going to start with the standout performer of the week, the game changer of the week, which there is actually a couple of Bears I can go with here. And I'm going to go with Blake Shapen still. I know. I'm sorry, Monaray. I wish I could do co-game changers of the week, but I got to go with Blake Shapen, who comes back. He's, a little trepid in the first couple drives. After that, he is absolutely money, and we're going to get more into his performance in a minute, but he is the game changer, just like Athletic Brewing. Blake Shapen changed the game and maybe changed Baylor's season. Well, Athletic Brewing changed the way you see non-alcoholic beers, okay? They brew over 50 styles of craft non-alcoholic beer. That includes IPAs, golden sours, basically anything you can think of. And they're great tasting and award-winning, which, trust me, that does not happen often with non-alcoholic beers. They actually make them taste good, just like you would with a full-strength beer. So they are fit for all times. I'm telling you, I'm going to do it. I did it yesterday at the Patriots-Cowboys tailgate. Great game. Nothing bad or otherwise to say about it for sure. And guess what? Today, no hangovers. I'm hungover a little bit from that comeback on Saturday, and I hope the Bears aren't for this week, but I am right now just from that, but not from the beer. Because you can find Athletic Brewing Company's non-alcoholic beers at a store near you, or you can buy online at athleticbrewing.com. And if you do that, first-time customers can use code LOCKEDON to get 15% off your first online order. That's code LOCKEDON at checkout for 15% off at athleticbrewing.com. Athletic Brewing, near beers. Exclusions and conditions do apply. So Blake Shapen was that game changer. And so was Monaray Baldwin, and so was the defense as a whole. So were the leaders on that defense. So was Jeff Grimes a little bit. I know a lot of you guys don't like to hear that. But yeah, he was. He was. But Blake Shapen specifically, he comes in, that first pass is almost a pick. It's not his best decision, or it's not a terrible decision. He doesn't put a great mustard on it. But he goes 21 for 34, 293, 1 touchdown, no pick, 143 rating. It's nothing that is outstanding. It's not an all-time performance on the stat sheet, but if you watched it, you would say that's a pretty standout Baylor performance for what he did. And I talked about it in the post game, but I can't say it enough. The man, for all we gave him last year, for taking too many sacks, not getting out of the pocket, sliding 3 yards before the sticks, he didn't do that on Saturday. Almost to a fault. Almost to a fault, because if that doesn't work out, we're right back to Sawyer Robertson. And we might not be talking about more wins in the Big 12 this year. But he laid it all out there. He had that dirty jersey, and I think it was really cool and poignant at the end of the game to see all his teammates come up and really give him his flowers and show that they believe in him. I mean, seriously, for someone who got so much flack all year last year, and things did not go well towards the end of the season for the whole team, and things did not start well this season, it's very easy for college kids, especially ones who who don't want to play for their coach. I'm not saying that, but if that narrative were true, that they didn't want to play for their coach, it's very easy for them to just not buy in, and that starts at quarterback. But clearly they do want to play for him, because you saw it on Saturday. You saw it play out in real time, and they know that Blake is their leader. And it was just it's just a one football game, and I don't even know if they'll have a winning record, but it was in a way inspiring to see. Maybe that's a little overboard, but it was inspiring to see. I mean, this is what Baylor has sorely lacked this year, and nothing on Sawyer Robertson for that. I mean, the kid is in his first year in the program. He's still learning the offense, but it wasn't anything to get behind, and you could tell the receivers were frustrated at times, and they were locked in yesterday. And the main one that was locked in was a guy who I did a Richard Reese episode basically on the milk carton last week. If this didn't happen this week, Monaray Baldwin would have been on it this week. But he goes for 7 catches for 150, a touchdown, the first wide receiver touchdown of the season for the Baylor Bears. 7 catches on 8 targets and a touchdown of 150. I mean, the dude just went off. And I was looking at it before those final few minutes and was looking at the numbers, and I was like, boy, this stinks. Ketron Jackson hadn't had a catch yet. Hal Presley, 3 for 26. Dom Richardson, 2 for 26. Drake Dabney, 2 for 25. Like, it was nothing inspiring. And basically all those numbers are the same after Monaray Baldwin took over the game. He was the guy. He was the absolute guy in the fourth quarter. So he gets 7 for 150. The next leading receiver is Hal Presley, 3 for 26. And Ketron Jackson's barely in the game. They did a good job on him. But Monaray Baldwin, who I thought was your your biggest Swiss Army knife on offense the whole season, this whole time, and finally you just kind of let him cook. Get him out of hibernation a little bit. I know we talked about Jordan Neighbors this week. Dave Aranda did, about getting the ball in his hands more often. Maybe think about the same thing for number 80. The guy can spin, and he had a lot of fun doing it after the game. He's not going to crack a darn smile, but after the game, he was getting into it on Instagram Live. It was awesome to see. But that connection should be lethal going forward. It should be. And I know it's one game, but that should, like, going into the season, we would have said that should be a lethal combination. The guy knows how to get open, and the speed is just otherworldly. And then the big play that gets them into field goal range at the end of the game, they get closer. But I think it's a third down play. It's on barely on Baylor's side of the 50. They throw it out to Baldwin like 4 yards short of the sticks, and he's making guys miss, bouncing off of tackles, using the sideline, cutting it back, and it goes for a huge play. It goes for like a 30-yard play. So he's more than just a burner. Like, that was a really intelligent football wide receiver play. If you didn't already know, he is a full throat wide receiver. You do now. And again, going back to Blake, I mean, the guy, he didn't make bad decisions all day. Even when the numbers weren't great going into the fourth quarter, he made good decisions. He was quarterbacking. Okay. He was making audibles at the line that were working. He wasn't taking bad sacks. He had taken some sacks, but it wasn't really his fault. They weren't bad sacks. And last year when we saw him kind of at the low, you could just tell out there he was not a confident quarterback. He was holding the ball too long, which he would admit time and time again that he was working on, and you could tell, he'd get a little in his own head. The mechanics wouldn't always be there. They were there. They were there on Saturday, and it just looked like a fresh new quarterback. Again, much like what we saw in week 1, but you had to take that with a grain of salt because they lost and they didn't play well in the red zone in that game. This time they did. For such a bad red zone offense, they were scoring touchdowns and converting 2-point conversions. For a team that has stunk the last year plus in the red zone and in short yardage, converted back-to-back 2-point conversions. Can't say enough about those guys. We're actually going to hear from them in a little bit. But first, what I need to do is talk about another sponsor of today's video, and that is FanDuel. All right, y'all know we are back. FanDuel, NFL is back. College football is in full effect. So, it's time to start making some money, gentlemen, some boy money. All right. And that's why you go to FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. And right now, new customers get $200 off in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. So if you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. Okay. We got NFL, we got college football, we got MLB playoffs. And guess what? For dummies like me, this app is so easy to use. Wide range of options. You can bet on anything, all right? Spreads, player props, over-unders, what color the Gatorade's going to be when they dump it on Coach Aranda's head when they win the Big 12 this year. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon. Kick off the season right. FanDuel.com is including money lines, props, and all of that stuff. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. Last part of it today. Usually I save this for Dave's thoughts. We're going to hear from Dave at plenty of times throughout this week and what this win meant to him and the team and the program. And I want to hear from the guys who went out there on the field and actually did it. All right, we got a couple of players on there. It's mostly going to be Blake Shapen, but wanted you guys to hear it from the players, what it meant to them, and the belief they had basically the whole time. So guys, take it away.
Coming back from, what was the lead? How much?
35-7.
Okay, 28. So, yeah, I've never been a part of a 28-point comeback, and it was pretty amazing to be a part of, thanks to my teammates, thanks to my coaches, and it's just a blessing to be able to experience a moment like this. So,
Blake, at what point, maybe it was the whole game, at what point did you start believing, I guess, that it could happen?
I believe before we played this game. I believe in all of our coaches. I believe in all my teammates. These guys right here. I never stopped believing. I get we were 1-3, and that's not a way to start the season, but I never stopped believing. I believe we're going to win this game before the game, and in the middle of the game we're down 28 points, and it's a big thanks to our coaches, my teammates. Everybody played so hard. I'm so proud of everybody, this whole organization, and everybody was doubting us, and so we used that as fuel this game and came out with a W.
Isaiah, what's going through your mind before you line up that last game?
Oh, man. Well, the whole game, honestly, I prayed for peace, and I feel like the Lord was very gracious today. So today, I don't even know what I was thinking about, but I was peaceful. I knew that my teammates had set me up for success, and so I'm glad that we were able to execute it.
Speaking of your teammates, Garrison went out early with an injury. What was that like, just the trust you have to have in the backup, next guy up?
I thought he did a great job coming back in. I was bummed for Garrison, that sucked. But I thought that Dylan came in and did a really good job. It was definitely an adjustment. We haven't done an op together in weeks, but it was an adjustment. But I thought he did an extremely well job. So.
Blake, this kind of seems a little bit like last year against Oklahoma on the road, winning when kind of people doubted you in Norman. Now you guys pull out maybe one of the greatest comebacks in program history. How do you kind of build off of that and not do what happened last year and kind of sputter out?
Yeah, I think all of these guys, we got to stay together. We got to use this game as fuel for the next game. We're going to enjoy this win because, it's hard to come by wins in this league. So, yeah, we're going to enjoy this win, and we're going to move on to next week, and we're going to keep letting everybody doubt us. And that's the thing. Everybody's going to keep doubting us no matter what. No matter what happened this game, they're going to keep doubting us the next game. And, we're going to use that as fuel moving forward. And so I got to trust in all our guys and coaches. So I'm excited for the future.
Monaray, what worked well for you today?
This man right here, and just knowing my teammates got my back and I got their back. I was saying in the first quarter, like, we're still in this. As long as we stick together, we can do anything. And Blake just happened to kept finding me around the defense, and that's just how the game went. Thank God for that. I thank my teammates for that. I thank coaches for that. And we just got to stick together, and we've come a long way.
Monaray, talk about that one on the sideline that kind of got y'all in field goal range, where he hit you on the sideline and then you kind of turned it back and got it down, I think, to the 15 or something. Talk about that play. Just how did that come out?
Well, I had made a play like maybe the drive before or something like that. So I guess they had faith to call my number again, and Blake threw it to me, and I guess today I was just breaking tackles. That's how I felt. I broke a few tackles and I was trying to get loose. I should have scored though, but that's on me, man.
Like y'all scored 29 in a row to end the game. 29 straight points. Is that a glimpse of what the team could be?
Yeah, so early on in the game, we were moving the football the whole game. There was never a time where, I think the first drive we went 3 and out or something like that. But that was really the only drive that we didn't move the football. We moved the football the whole game, and so we got to the red zone, and that's when we weren't executing. And so, we got to find ways to be able to score early on in those situations, and be able to trust that we're going to get in the end zone. And we moved the ball the whole game, so there's no sputtering early on or any of that. Like, we played good the whole game. We just we couldn't finish in the red zone, and that's a big thing in this league. You got to finish if you want to win. So I think that's what we got to do, and that's what we did towards the end of the game.
Blake, where did the energy in the fourth quarter into the third quarter come from? Where did that juice come from? I saw Coach Aranda getting kind of fired up on the sideline.
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
I think it came from us making big plays. Obviously, whenever you don't make too many plays, you're not gonna have too much energy. And I'll give a huge credit, props to this guy right here, because these last 2 weeks he's came out and he's been our guy. Like he's came out and he's been vocal. When everyone's down, he's picking them up no matter what. All these plays you see him make and all this stuff, like, yeah, that's cool and everything, but the type of guy this guy is, it's unmatchable. So to be able to have him on my side is unbelievable. I can't thank him enough, and I can't thank all my teammates enough either. Hal Presley, all those skill guys, Keytron, all those guys, they played hard, and so did our running backs. And I'm proud of all those guys. So,
Blake, getting back to last game, there's a point where you're being outscored 73-14. Why did the team give up?
Wait, can you say that again?
Thinking back to last game, there's a point where this team's gone 73 points to 14 points down over the course of 7 quarters. Why not give up? Where did that come from?
We have a bunch of guys on this team that just don't give up. We put in so much time in the off season and so much hard work. Like, I don't know a program that works like us in the off season. Like, I'm being serious. Every guy I've talked to that goes there, I don't know that they work this hard. And so when we hear that and the amount of work that we've put in, like, you can't give up. Like, there's no time to be giving up, because we put in way too much work just to give up for big moments like this. And so that's a huge thing. I think guys, really still trust the work they put in, and there's no time for giving up for us. So.
Thanks, guys. I could feel it there. You could hear it too. You could hear the locker room celebrating in the background, couldn't you? That is an awesome feeling. I was there at OU last year when the locker room was just going nuts. Like, you couldn't hear anything the coaches were saying 10 feet in front of you at the press conference. It was awesome. So happy for them. So happy for the team. Will it turn into something? Well, you're going to find out later this week. We'll be back tomorrow breaking down this win a little bit more, looking ahead. Butt Bowl this weekend and what looks like a winnable game, and definitely one that you would have some more confidence in if you were the Baylor Bears. That's it for us today. We will come back tomorrow. Thank you for making it your first listen today, tomorrow, every day. I'm Cam Stewart. This has been, always will be, Locked On Baylor.